This 911 Strong podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Police Credit Union of California.
As a financial institution founded by law enforcement for law enforcement and their families over 65 years ago, they have the experience and understanding to help you with all your financial needs,
including exclusive products designed specifically for law enforcement professionals. To become a member today, visit thepolicecu.org. That's the police, the letter C, and the letter U.org.
Or call 800-222-1391 and tell them you heard about them from the 911 Strong podcast.
Station to all units.
Prepare to copy.
You're listening to the 911 Strong podcast.
Don't act like I never told you.
With Aram and Kristen, bringing you stimulating discussion.
No, I like the sound of that.
An entertaining conversation.
And now, here's Kristen and Aram.
Friends, welcome back to the 911 Strong podcast. I am Aram Choe, and with me, as always, is our sneezing wonder, Kristen Jauregui. She's suffering from allergies today.
Allergies and the cold, but thank you. Yes.
But where you are, the wind is incredibly strong. So I guess you get all those allergens in.
That, and it doesn't help that all my animals shed and I'm allergic to them. So
yeah, you live in a zoo.
Not a good combo.
Don't live in a zoo and you won't have that problem. Speaking of living in the zoo, our special guest today is a guy I've been a big fan of for a long time. I should say a huge fan. And because his screen name on Instagram is Huge Fat Loser. Our guest today is Aram Lohman. What's going on, Aram?
What's going on? That transition from zoo to me working in a zoo, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's why they pay me the big bucks to do this podcast, right? But really, I've never been to New York. So I left this out for our listeners, but you're a sergeant with the NYPD.
Yes.
I mean, when people grow up, people like me who grew up to be police officers, we always aspire to join the biggest and baddest agencies. And when I think of the biggest and baddest, NYPD is right up there.
It is definitely the biggest agency in the U.S., that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys do you guys do the custody, you guys do the foot beats, you guys do patrol. I mean, you guys have anti-terrorism units, and then the unit that you're in is pretty unique too, right?
Yeah, I'm in the NYPD's health and wellness section. It's a new unit formed a little bit over 2 years ago, and pretty much we help cops with their mental and physical health in whatever way possible. Like obviously, we're not perfect 100% of the time. It's impossible to be that, but we're there to try and be there for the cops and civilians also. We take care of.
You and Kristen have a lot in common. You're going to have a lot to talk about. Before I go in there, I want to give our listeners a little bit of background about you that they may not know about. People are probably wondering why your screen name is Huge Fat Loser. It has nothing to do against your personality because you're a winner in my book. I followed you because of your sheer determination and motivation. I mean, you were heavy. You were at an unhealthy weight, and I'll let you talk about that in a little bit. But you've posted your fitness journey where you lost a tremendous amount of weight. Not only lost it, but you gained a healthy perspective mentally as well as physically, and you help others do that today because you stay. I mean, you looking at your before picture and today, I mean, you're ripped, you're shredded, you're huge, and you would never have known you were that unhealthy unless you posted those pictures. So that's big of you, number one. Huge of you, number one. Because I used to be a little heavier than I am now, but I wouldn't post any pictures of myself with my shirt off because I didn't have any. I wasn't in a position where I was proud of taking my shirt off and wanting to take a picture. But the fact that you knew that one day you were going to achieve your goal, so you took that before picture. And then you did it. I mean, it's such a powerful testimony.
Thank you. I mean, listen, I forced myself to post those pictures because I always tell people, start a social media account, post things on your social media that you're going to do this and put a before picture, because guess what? It's a lot easier to fail to yourself when nobody knows. But when you post it out there and you put it out there, now you're like, oh man, people actually are watching this. And I'm not going to be the only person that knows I failed this time. Right. Everybody's going to know.
Yeah, I guess you set your audience kind of becomes your accountability partners as well.
Exactly.
And you're motivating other people to do it. So, I mean, you're kind of accountable to them too, right?
Yeah. That's the whole reason I started the page is because I was like, you know what? I want to use it as an accountability page and help other people be accountable.
Well, okay. So for the people listening right now, let's give your stats. I mean, how tall are you and what did you weigh back then? And where are you at today?
Okay. I'm 6'4" and I weighed back then, I always say over 425, because when I stepped on the scale, it was 425. That was the maximum it could go up to.
Wow.
And I had already like dieted for like a week. So who knows, you know?
Right.
And now I weigh 256. So, I mean, I'm actually up like 5 pounds, but I was taking, I always relax for
Yeah.
a little while, you know what I mean? So, but then I come back down like right before the summer. So I'm, always working at it. At my lowest, I lost 178 pounds, which is like
Wow.
just a little bit less of this, like I think 8 pounds less than I currently weigh now. But, nothing crazy either. People
I mean,
think
that is crazy though. I mean, you lost a person.
Yeah.
You lost another person.
But like people think that like, oh my God, this guy must like do all this wild stuff. Like I didn't. Like, it's just like you gotta find something you like, stick to it, and then eventually it becomes a habit and you want to
Yeah.
do more of it.
Yeah.
Well, how did you even get there? I mean, were you an athlete? I mean, you're 6'4", you got good size, you got broad shoulders. Were you
No,
ever?
and the truth is, like, I used to lie to people because I was fat and overweight, and I was like, hiding myself. Like I used to lie to people. They'd be like, "Oh, you play football, right?" I'd be like, "Yeah, yeah." It was a way to like almost like be okay with like being fat. You know how like all like power lifters are like for the most part are like heavy.
Yeah.
It's like yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, yeah. I was a football player. That's why. Like no, I was not. I was not an athlete at all. I played a little bit of basketball. Believe it or not, I played soccer when I was in like ninth grade, and I was like super thin. Like.
Right.
And then I just wasn't watching what I was eating. I wasn't doing anything. I was going through like a really bad family situation when I was in high school. Started to get like depressed, like all these things, like whatever. I just started eating, and then I became heavy and overweight. I lost 100 pounds to get into the academy, the completely wrong way. And then I wound up just quitting as soon as I got into the academy because I had no more fitness goals. Like we don't have a fitness standard here.
Hmm.
And I just like gained it all back and just continued to gain it all back. And then finally I was like, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah. I mean, being a cop, and obviously you know how to lose the weight the right way now. Do you think that stress and the anxieties and not having your life squared away attributes to that? Because you said that you started gaining weight when you had a bad family situation and the weight started coming on. And then after you became a cop, probably the additional stressors there, the weight started coming back. Is there a direct correlation there?
I think there's somewhat a correlation, right? So when I talk in public and when I talk to cops about these things, the career of law enforcement definitely has stressors on you, whether it be like living a sedentary lifestyle. We sit in the patrol car most of the time. We have access to food. Like we don't have that much time management, going from arrest to whatever, processing arrest, dealing with bad supervisors, right? All these things stress us out, dealing with the public, the public's perception of us, our perception of each other, the internal toxic culture that is policing, right? All those things have a factor, but at the end of the day, the difference between who I was then and who I was now was that those things never changed. What changed was my perspective and my self-realization that I was in control of my own behaviors and how I responded and reacted to those stressors, right? And I think that's the big misconception when people say, because I was the biggest excuse maker on earth. When I was over 425 pounds and I was depressed, I wasn't taking care of myself, I made every excuse under the sun. I didn't want to change what I was. All I was doing was lashing out and being negative at people. You can't work out as a cop. You have no time, all this stuff. But it was literally just a lie to cover up the fact that I did have time. I just didn't. I was being lazy and I didn't want to control my own behavior.
Yeah, that's just not unique to cops too, right? Because Kristen, you were in the fitness world. Kristen actually, she took her trophy back to her house, but she won first place in
My
a fitness
paperweight.
fitness competition. But I remember you telling me stories yourself, Kristen, how some of the girls that you competed with were unhealthy, just not just physically, but mentally. They weren't there in the right place. Do you think?
Yeah. Well, the competition part of it really does mess with you mentally because, I got down to, for my body, an unhealthy weight. And then I was maybe at like 8 or 10% body fat. And, for my first time, personally, I thought I looked really too skinny. I looked malnourished and I was only eating asparagus and tilapia 5 times a day for at least 3 weeks. And I was taking the water loss pills and stuff too. So, I mean, I was really, really tiny. My other competitions, I did a little bit better, a little bit more healthier. It was normal food. But that mental part of it where I was expecting to always look like stage ready kind of like screwed with me, and it did with a lot of other girls. And so when we would come off a competition, we would binge eat and everything, because now we can eat, with our friends or go drink or whatever else, and we get huge again. And then we'd dive, and it kept going like that for a few years. So yeah, it definitely messed with me. And like you said, sedentary lifestyle, like I'm in dispatch, I sit on my butt for 12, now 13 hours a day. And, I get tired or lazy, full of excuses. Food is at our fingertips, of course, because everybody dumps everything in dispatch. And, so I stopped competing. I got a little burnout. So I went from like working out 5 to 6 days a week and to nothing. So now I'm up like 30-ish pounds, but I'm trying to get back down to where I'm happy, but by doing it, like you said, the right way, and not like saying, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. Just watch my portions and what days I decide to enjoy a little bit more. Like, I know we're going to go to the fair sometime soon, so I'll have a little bit of fair food, but not like a ton, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, there's a difference. And like, I think one of the biggest misconceptions by the general public is like when they see photos from like competitions, like they're like, oh, that's healthy. Like any like bodybuilder will tell you that is not a healthy lifestyle, right? Competing is definitely not a healthy lifestyle at all.
No.
Finding that happy medium. I mean, that's definitely like growing up as, it's not an age thing, but like growing up as an adult, you see all these TikToks or whatever. It's like growing up in the fitness industry is realizing that is not, while it could be a goal for you to compete, that is not really what healthy is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know that there was a lot of girls that like when they were in their stage ready, I guess, body, they would do a bunch of different photo shoots and then a bunch of different like pictures wherever. And that's what they would use over the span of their competition prep. So like when they're posting, it's not really where they're at. It's, that one time. So it's very, social media is just a whole other monster when it comes to fitness and health.
It's crazy. I mean, it has come a long way, especially like, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or what, but like, to me, I see TikTok almost being like a little bit more progressive in the fact that like a lot of bodybuilders are very open with like, oh, listen, like, let's say they use drugs. They're very open about like performance enhancing drugs and like what is healthy and what is not, which to me, I mean, the only person doing it back in the day was Rich Piana, like rest in peace, but he was the only guy who's like, yeah, I'm on a ton of shit, like all this stuff, whatever. But like, I think more people being honest about it is very key about like what is healthy and what is not, because where I work out at Bev Francis Gym, which is quote unquote the East Coast Mecca of bodybuilding. And a lot of the people that work out there, they're professionals. And I want to say over the last 2 years, we have lost, I mean, like some legitimate professional bodybuilders, like in the middle of their preps, like who are gone from the industry because of like the real dangers that do exist and like trying to do that all the time. It's not good for you,
No, not at all. Yeah. I'm glad I'm out of it, but now it's just getting back into the healthy portion of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, listening to both of you talk, it sounds like you both are more comfortable being at a place in your life where it's easy to maintain, right? You're a consistent life. And you talked about your Aaron, you talked about your weight. You're 5 or 8 pounds heavier than your lowest, but it's not necessarily the goal, right? To be at your lowest.
No way. Like my goal is just to like live my life and be healthy. Obviously, like my performance goal is to like, hey, be as physically fit as I could possibly be. But like, I don't like obsess over it and crush myself over it. Like we talk about competing, like I have a goal to do a competition, right? But not like professionally. Like there's a competition in like, I think it's in Houston, right? Where it's like a weight loss transformation competition, where it's like for people who were overweight and like, oh, what they look like before and what they look like now. Like, I'm not going to get all diced up and like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that's not my goal. My goal is just to be like, hey, listen, this is what I look like then. This is what I look like now. And like, I'm still going to live my life the way I live it, whether win, lose, or draw a competition. You know what I mean? Like, it's for me. It's like a self.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot where I was going with that, but
no, but I just going off of what you're saying, I'm like, you got to be happy too. Like Kristen mentioned, we're going to go to the fair. I think tomorrow we're going to a concert. So I know I'm going to have a brew. I'm going to have some fair food, but I'm completely fine with that. But I remember like when Kristen was competing, she would bring her prepared meals. And we'd feel bad. We'd have our pizza, fried chicken, and she'd be there forcing down asparagus and Brussels sprouts and fish. And I'm just sitting there going, dang, you do not, you look great. You looked great, Kristen. You still look great now. You're so hard on yourself, but you were suffering by doing that. But you can get to the same, you were in a rush. You had a countdown.
Right. Yeah.
But I want our listeners to understand you can get to a point being consistent and slow and get there. And I kind of tell people this, look, I'm not the fitness guru that you guys are, but it's my personal experience. When I crash dieted, I gained it back just as fast. But when I took it slow and got to a goal slowly, gaining back either didn't occur or it was really slow. So that's just my philosophy on things. What do you guys think about that?
I agree 100%. Like when I crash diet, or when you go into that window where you're like super hard, you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Well, then what happens is when you're off of that, you're going to post diet or cheat or whatever, or eat like crap the same way with the same intensity that you just didn't diet. So you're just going to put it all right back on. Like I said, I lost 100 pounds to get into the academy. Like being a cop wasn't always my goal, right? So, but as soon as I decided I was going to be a cop, I'm like, yo, I got to lose some weight. So I crashed diet, I lost 100 pounds right away. And then like, exactly like you said, the second I went and became a cop, it was 3 months into being a cop before I split my first pair of pants, which should have been the first warning sign, but it wasn't. You know, I just kept on going and going and going. When you're more consistent, so when you're crash dieting, you're like, oh man, I can't wait till I'm not dieting anymore so I can enjoy this, so I can enjoy that, so I can enjoy this. Whereas if you're doing it over a long period of time and just like being easy on yourself and taking care of yourself, you can enjoy things like every single day. You can enjoy things on the weekend, like whatever it is, and just live your life. Like I'm going home tonight. I have, I'm going to have a couple beers. I'm going to hang out, probably have some pizza tomorrow. And that's the way I've lived my whole entire journey over the last 5 years, is like, this is life too. Like if you die tomorrow, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how much you weigh. You got to enjoy that shit too, especially like if you have kids and all this stuff. Yeah, you have to enjoy it all.
So what is the weight? What has the weight loss done for you, Aaron? Like personally, professionally, how's it impacted you?
Well, personally, let's talk personally first, right? I used to wake up every single day when I was over 425 pounds, and I was like depressed and moody. And like you hear cops talk, and like you think that is normal to feel that way, to feel like constantly have zero energy, be depressed, be upset, like, all these things. And then like you start focusing on like losing weight and feeling healthier, and you realize that is actually not normal to feel that way, because now you feel so much better. Not only that, I started to feel better mentally too, just having some, not only from like a nutritional standpoint, because I feel like nutrition and like health and how much you weigh are all stressors on the body that place a severe amount of mental stress, as long as like with what you eat and all that stuff. But from a mental standpoint, where I now had something to focus on that was not the job, that was not police. I could focus on my nutrition. I could focus on how I use my body. I could look forward to enjoying my workouts, even though I had a shitty shift, or, things like that, where like now I was starting to realize what was actually important. My me time, my time with my family, what I put in my body and my brain and things like that. So it helped me develop physically and mentally as a person. Professionally, I can't even tell you. So it's like, it's crazy, right? So I didn't do, like I said, I started this as a fitness accountability page to lose weight, to do all this stuff, and like hopefully like drag some other people in, and like, and help some other people, which actually was my wife's idea. My wife was like, you should start an Instagram page. I was like a social media idiot. Like most cops are so paranoid to put themselves out there on social media because of backlash and like the department, like all this type of stuff. And I was the same way until she was like, as soon as she pushed me into it, I'm like, okay, then I started rolling with it. But then like 4 years later, when they started this unit, this health and wellness section, like I didn't apply to come here. I had an executive from my department send me a direct message and be like, hey, we're starting this unit. I think it would be a great fit for you. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever in my entire existence. Like I didn't think that I would go from there to here, especially because before I got to this unit, man, like I worked in every unit that the NYPD is trying to bring back, anti-crime, like all these plainclothes units. I was in the gang squad, all this stuff. I worked in those units, and I have been in like every type of civilian complaints, investigations, laws, all that stuff. Okay. And like for them to like see all that, look past that, look at what I've done and like bring me in here. Like really like took me for a loop. First of all, I was like, they have no idea who I am. This is the craziest thing on earth. But, and then from that, like, obviously I've gotten more responsibility. Like, you know, I teach recruits, I teach other cops, all that stuff. And then like, obviously on like a small business level, like, you know, training clients and like selling. It's like, it's honestly been like amazing. Amazing.
But that gives you the credibility, right? Because like, yeah, I'm a cop, and if I'm going to follow another cop, I don't want to take advice from a guy that hasn't done what I haven't done. The guy that works for maybe an agency where the busiest part of his day is trying to figure out where he's going to have lunch, right? I mean, you're legit. You worked anti-crime, you worked gangs, you worked all these legitimate units where rightfully so, you would have gotten a complaint, because if you did your job right, you were going to get one or two complaints, right? So, I mean, to take a guy like that, but at the same time have this side of you that knows how to talk to people, that knows how to instruct people with legitimacy and credibility, and that's a testament to who you are. And yeah, if I was an executive at your agency, and I stumbled across your page, I would say, yeah, this guy is the guy that we want, not just talking to our citizens, but having the legitimacy and the credibility to communicate to our other officers.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, you're a sergeant. You obviously rose through the ranks to get to where you are now. Where do you see yourself? Are you comfortable there, or do you want to stay in this unit a little while?
Yo, I have no idea. Even like becoming, like I always tell people, I didn't become a cop really because I have something I always wanted to do. It was literally like find a job, or you know, get out of the house. And the NYPD was paying $25,000 and taking anybody, and I was anybody. So I signed up and I took the test, and I became sergeant. I was like, I didn't want to take the test. The test came out, and I had people around me really like, yo, you should be a sergeant, you should be a supervisor. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And they actually delayed the test because there was like a cheating scandal or something. And I hadn't studied at all. And then, you know what, when that happened, I was like, you know what, maybe I will study. Maybe I will. And it wasn't even like, I still didn't think I was ready to be a boss. I just was like, you know what, this is another challenge in a list of challenges. This is another way, like nutrition or whatever it is, like focusing on things like that you can control helps you. Because once you overcome a challenge and once you want to face something, you want to face more things. Right. And that's exactly what that was for me. It's like, hey, let's see if I can actually do this. Let's see if I put my mind to it, I can actually study and pass the test. And that's what I did. But like, I honestly can't even tell. Like, there's not a lieutenant's test coming up that I know of. Yeah. I honestly have no idea. I probably not. I only have like 4.5 years left. I like where I'm at. I like helping people. I don't know. I am a terrible student. I'm going back to college now. I have like 3 classes left till I get my bachelor's degree that I never got. You know, but I'm a terrible student. So I don't know. You know.
Well, I mean, so you got 4.5 years. You're getting your degree. I mean, what's the next evolution of Aram Lohman? What's gonna happen after the police world?
My long-term goal, I want to go to agencies, not only just agencies, but like people, and just like talk to people, because like there's just so many, and like when we talk about fitness and mental health, like, and how they all play together, like a lot of those things come down to like the decisions that we make on an everyday basis. For ourselves. Like it's much more psychology based than like people realize, you know, and people feel hopeless and whatever. I just want to go around and just like talk to people, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to go, like, I don't know, talk to agencies and be like, hey, listen, here's what I did. You could do this. I want to write, you know, I'm in the process of writing stuff. Like, I want to write books. I want to do all this stuff. And like, that's it. You know what I mean? I just want to be able to help people in different ways than I did before. Obviously make money doing it. Like, I'm not going to say that, you know, whatever, but that's it. You know, like I found my thing, and I just want to keep on riding it out until the wheels fall off.
That's amazing. I mean, that's super motivating, especially coming from a humble background. I mean, it's like 25 grand a year to do the job that you were doing in the city you were doing doesn't sound like it's going to attract a lot of people. But the fact that you were willing to jump in and you did it such an effective job while you were there doing it, that's incredible. That's a testament to who you are. And it sounds like you're always leveling up. That's motivating in of itself. So speaking of motivating, so for our listeners who may be in the situation that you were at, you know, years ago, that are just, you know, looking at the mirror and not happy with themselves, what can they do today to get the wheels in motion?
Anything. That's literally my biggest piece of advice to anybody, is because most people, myself included, for years, they plan. They look for the perfect diet, the perfect workout. Especially nowadays, you can get lost in social media or the internet. What should I do? What should I do? Just start doing something. I recommend start walking a half hour a day, and then you don't even have to monitor what you eat as far as like, oh, how many grams of protein or whatever. Just start like noting what you eat, because I guarantee you, once you start doing that and realizing it, what you're eating every day, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I never realized this. And the more that you cultivate your own, because when it comes down to weight loss or fitness or starting a business, anything, it's all about behavior change, changing behavior. And as soon as you realize you on your own the behaviors that you have, and start to cultivate better behaviors on your own, that's when you'll be better off. And that's when you want to progressively level up. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the main things that's left out of fitness and nutrition is like, everybody wants a plan. So you write them a plan, and then what? How do they execute that plan? You know what I mean? Right. They don't, because they never learned that discipline or how to cultivate it themselves. It's like, all right, listen, I want you to eat 200 grams of protein a day. I want you to eat this many calories a day, but they don't know what that looks like. They don't know that path to get from where they are, where they're eating a meatball sub for every meal, to getting there. And it's about cultivating that discipline, and it happens slowly over time, and it's a long process.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah. Well, and what I've been telling people if they come with me, I don't train people anymore. I used to, but I don't, because like you said, you give them a plan and they're full of excuses or want to change things up. And anyways, but it's always for me, and things that I keep reminding myself is I want to, whatever I need, what I'm doing now, I want to be able to do it years down the road. Like, obviously I can't eat a fitness competition lifestyle down the road. It's not sustainable. It's not going to work. So whatever path they choose should be something that they could do, year round, well into their older years. And I think that'll provide more consistency.
I think being physical too, right? Like our job is largely sedentary, especially Kristen's job and my job. We both sit behind a desk now. You got to find something. Yeah. So you got to find something to do that's going to make you sweat, right? Because I'm not I'll say it again, I'm not a fitness expert, but I do know a couple things. And one of the things I recently learned that was surprising to me, the way body fat exits your body. There's only three ways body fat exits your body. It's through sweat, it's through urine, and it's through breathing heavy, the CO2 gas that exits your body. And I thought that was phenomenal. So if you can find something to do that combines a couple of those things, like I do jujitsu, so I'm sweating and breathing heavy. So that's high intensity interval training. Anybody can do that without doing jujitsu. You can do some high interval stuff, and you're sweating and you're expelling CO2 gas. You're burning fat twice as fast at that moment. So for me, that's what I like. It works for me. I hate long distance running. I hate,
I only run from the cops. That's it.
So right. What would you say is your favorite like cheat meal when you do decide to splurge?
Listen, I love pizza, but like I have this, I know they don't pay me. All right. But I literally love this place more than anything. There's this little hamburger spot. It's been there since the 50s where I'm from. It's called All American Hamburger. It is like the best. I mean, it's like, listen, we don't have In-N-Out. Okay. But In-N-Out's good. But just like,
that's the first time I've ever heard anybody from out of state actually give In-N-Out props.
No, because everybody's, listen, there's so many people with egos out there, especially cops, like, they know the best this, the best that. Listen,
yeah,
I'll tell you right now, which place In-N-Out is the best. I still do In-N-Out. People from Texas would be like Whataburger. Listen, I had Whataburger. Like, it tastes fresh, but it's no In-N-Out. I'll tell you that.
Thank you for saying that, because I have a beef going with some of my friends from Texas.
It's not. It's real. It's not. Like, it tastes fresh. Their menu is like more expansive, so I guess they have more stuff, which was cool. But like, In-N-Out, double animal style fries all day.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Every time I fly into California, I find the closest one to the airport. That's the first place I'm hitting. Every single time.
And that's that's coming from someone neutral, right? So thank you.
Okay. How about let's see, what else could we ask? How about your favorite workout or favorite body area to
I like to train back. I like all pulling exercises, stuff like that. It's just something I enjoy. Legs is cool too. I used to hate legs like everybody else, but I noticed like the harder I train them and like the more intense it is, like the more like I feel like I kick my own ass and like it makes me feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are like the main two. And I don't really do like CrossFit style workouts or anything like that. But if I do participate in them, I always enjoy it, not while I'm doing it, but at the end where I'm like, wow, that was the craziest thing ever. So listen, I like it all, but those are my favorites.
That's true. You never really regret the workout that you've done, right? It's just
No.
like me. I train after work, but I get up at 3 a.m. to get to work by 5. I don't get out till 6. Right? It's a long day for me. And right after lunch, right about 1 or 2 o'clock, I'm already psyching myself out. Not what excuse can I come up with and not go train? But I basically force myself to get there. But once I'm there, I get through the workout, and at the end of it, I'm so much better off for have done it. I would have regretted not going because of the progress that I made that day. So I think that's another thing for our listeners. You have to get yourself there. That's the hardest part. But once you're there,
lie to yourself. This is, I literally, I made a video about this. I haven't posted yet, but it's literally, there are days, even this far into it, where I have to lie to myself and be like, listen, just get there. I'm only gonna do a couple reps. That's it. I'm not gonna go hard today. I'm just gonna do a couple, that's it. I'm just gonna, whatever. And then by the time you start like warming up and getting into it, you're ready to go. But the key is to just get there. Just get there and just start it.
Yeah, it's funny what triggers that too. I've had those days where I'm there. My wife has to drag me along to the gym and I'm there. And then for whatever, there might be another dude there that's sizing me up. And I'm like, okay, now I gotta, or there might be someone, a female that's lifting heavier than I am. Like, oh, I gotta, whatever it is, you'll find your motivation once you're there. It might be glancing at the mirror going, hey, I'm starting to get a little definition. Maybe let's pump that out. So you're absolutely right. Lie to yourself, get yourself there, whatever it takes. That's great advice. Absolutely. All right. Well, I have a question for you because New York, you mentioned it already, pizza. Who's got the best? You've been to California. I'm sure you've been to Chicago.
I have not been to Chicago.
Never been to Chicago? Okay.
Different pizzas.
Have you ever had Chicago deep dish? I know they have those places in New York.
I've had it other places and had it in like not Chicago, but like, listen, it has its place for sure. It's just a different type of pizza, right? I don't listen, I'm partial to New York style pizza because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
But listen, I'll eat it all. I didn't get 425 pounds by accident. All right. I like food, but
you got to fold that pizza, right? The New York style pizza.
The New York pizzas are like this.
You got to fold it.
Yeah.
And then the Chicago ones are like this thick with dough.
It's a knife and
it's
fork.
all bread.
Oh, it's a knife and fork pizza.
Yeah.
I got to tell you though, that the best pizza in the world, hands down, is in California. Before you go crazy, Aaron, next time you come out here, I'm going to take you. It's they don't pay me for this either, but I'll tell you, it's a little place in the city of San Gabriel. It's about 8 miles east of downtown LA. It's called Petrillo's. It's been there for like 80 years. Same family that owns it, Mama Petrillo. They make a square pizza, right? The whole thing's family style. So you get like 50 slices off of this thing, but it's the best of both worlds. It's not deep dish. It's not flat like New York. It's just right in the middle. The crust is perfect. Oh, it's like what?
Sicilian pizza?
I don't know. Maybe I've never. It makes sense. The family's from Italy, so. But man, I got to tell you, it's the best pizza I've ever had.
All right, cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yes.
Listen, I'm always down to try new food. Like I'm willing to try it.
Yeah. Well, next time you're down here, let us know. We'll take you out to Petrillo's, and we can post it on social media and get your reaction. And
I have to get up to California soon. Like we've already planning a trip. I don't know when, sometime next year, hopefully. But,
yeah, come stay with Kristen. She lives in the mansion. You guys will love it there.
Oh my gosh. It's not a mansion, but we do have room because my daughter doesn't sleep in her room. So
yeah, that's true. All right. Hey, Aaron, it was a pleasure having you on. That's some solid advice. I know our listeners probably enjoyed listening to you too. And if they want to hear more from Aaron, where can they find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at huge_fat_loser. Twitter, huge fat loser. TikTok, huge fat loser. Facebook, I don't know if anybody uses Facebook anymore except really people who get mad at everything. But there too. Wherever. Before we go, I just want to say, like, listen, it was a pleasure having me on. And like, I just want to say, like, I know how hard it is, like to be somebody who's in like the public spotlight and in law enforcement. You get it from both ends. You get it from people who are in law enforcement who hate on you, people who are in the public who hate on you. So I just want to tell you, keep doing what you're doing, man. And you too, Kristen. Like just keep doing what you're doing. The people who see this stuff and the people who are inspired by it and the people who like it means something to, they're not those people. And it means a lot to them. Okay. So
I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Thank
That
you.
means a lot coming from a guy like you. That's very huge of you. But yeah, before we go, you're right. You guys know Sean Larkin from Live PD. He and I were texting the other day, and we're talking about why we have so many haters from within our industry. Wouldn't it be? We have enough haters and distractions from the outside, but how come as professionals we got to hate on each other? We should be supporting each other. And the quick answer I had to that was they're insecure. So you show your insecurity by hating on other cops.
yes.
Be their supporters. It's a good way to go out, actually, if you're a cop listening right there. If you're one of those guys that finds yourself in a position where you're listening to somebody else talk crap about another officer, hold them off right there and tell them how insecure they are, and maybe we'll put an end to it one officer at a time.
Yes.
All right, Aaron. I want to thank our guest, Aaron Lohman, huge fat loser, for coming on. I hate saying huge fat loser because it gives people the wrong impression. It should be huge fat loser.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And you absolutely were, and are, and continue to be an inspiration. Every time I see your posts, I put down my whatever I have in my hand. And I'm like, no, I got to be more like Aaron. Well, thanks. Can we, I'm serious. When you come back out, let us know. But if that doesn't happen anytime soon, we'd love to have you back on and get an update.
Listen, for real, don't be strangers. Like, I know, like, sometimes in this space, like the social media cop thing, like space, like people are like, oh, I don't want to bother that person or whatever. Like, but seriously, I get bothered by people I don't want to talk to. I love to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
So, like, please, reach out whenever, like whatever you guys have going on. Like, I'm usually down. Like, as long as it fits in my schedule, I'm always down.
Sounds good.
Will do. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, Aaron, thanks for coming on the show. And thank you guys for listening to the show. We know you have your choice to listen to just about anybody, but from the bottom of our hearts, we really thank you for inviting us into your homes, your office, and your new commutes, because we know you can just listen about anybody. But since you're listening to us, smash that 5-star review button, subscribe to us, and tell your friends about us, because we're here based on your recommendations and we're not advertising anywhere else. So tell your friends about us, and we'll catch you next time on the 911 Strong podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye.